Hello everyone, I'm Tadale and I am bringing you another episode Made in Vietnam Founders podcast series. Today's episode is the one that I found very interesting simply because we heard a lot about the word broker of Vietnamese good, but we widely misunderstood about that. Broker, cò, or môi giới, but when we're hearing the word broker, many people might immediately thinking of someone who stands in the middle, take the margin, or simply connect two parties. But international trade, there are people in that middle position who do something very different, much bigger. They have international buyers find the right manufacturing capability in Vietnam and helping Vietnamese businesses step into the global arena in a more professional way. And welcome to our show today. We have a very special guest. It's Mr. Nguyen Quang Dong, CEO of VinaSources.
Hello guys, it's Paul from VinaSource. We come here today to give you some inside information about sourcing in Vietnam to global customer and buyers. Stay tuned for this episode.
Mr. Dong, I personally know you through my friend, and I do some research about you, and I'm so curious about your journey. And now the destination is here, the VinaSources, where I'm wearing the logo. It is very pleasure to have an opportunity to talk to you today. And if you were to introduce your mission, what would you say about the sourcing profession? Because not many people familiarize with that. So is it often casually referred to as being a broker?
So first of all, thanks for your question and thanks for time inviting me to the studio today to talk about very interesting topics. Broker, not really the broker, right? So about sourcing is include many things, right? So first, there is few definitions that we should discuss in that question. So first is about purchasing or buying, right? So someone, when they come to any country or any company, they're asking to buy something.
Right.
So that's buying or purchasing. But sourcing including so many planning, strategy, understanding the goals of the buyers before planning a proper plan and roadmap to produce, to ship, and adding many value into that product before sending out. So that's the definition of sourcing, and I don't think that that's a brokers, right? So a broker is simply like, okay, you have a friends that need to buy something, and I know some factory, and I introduce your friends to that factory, and I finish my job there, and then maybe I got some commission or something like that, but my value is just referral or connecting. But for VinaSources, we are not doing as a brokers. Our story is trying to create an ecosystem, like we create a playground, and so many players jump in and play the same games, and we're adding value into that. So for example, a global buyers come to Vietnam, purchase something, they usually face up with many difficulties like interacting with the factories,
right,
understanding their capabilities, about the payment, about the trust, about the logistic laws, and so many things, duty tax, for example. And what if they don't have someone in the middle like VinaSources? The deals cannot be done. So if considering the whole supply chain and the whole purchasing journey of the global buyer come to Vietnam as a car, right? We are the engine oil. We stay in the middle of everything to make sure the transmission, the engine, and everything combine together smoothly. So that is what we do.
Yeah. Interesting. When we try to crack the terminology of broker. So guys, if you watch the show and you are finding new information about VinaSources, where Mr. Dong and his team on his duty, you understand, that's not only the broker, because the thing of, make it very interesting, because for Vietnamese people, broker carries a very negative connotation.
Yeah.
But through what you're saying, we are not broker, right? We give them the pool, and then they can like dive into to explore with the clearer information about the buyers and about the purchasers as well,
yes,
right? It's more like a matchmaker, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And in very deep understanding about each party in that connection, right? So we understand the capability of factory, we understand what buyer needs, and we match them together. And then in the middle, if they need some kind of support, for example, the factory need prepayment, but the buyers only want to do postpaid, right? So in that case, there's some financing partner jumped in and funded before. For example, it's like this. So the deal is gonna happen easily and smoothly. So we try to make sure that the factory can focus on production and producing the orders, and the buyers no worries about the scam or about the SLA or the product quality.
Right.
Yeah, and another example is we might have some third-party quality control company to jump in and make sure that the quality of the goods is exactly as the buyer needs.
Right.
And that's what we do. So, like when they come onto the table and they say, okay, I'm still confusing about that. So we come with a solution. Okay, if you're confusing about the payment, that's the solution. You just need to choose it, and yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, and I hope that through this series, I want to hear more stories, more direct story come from the purchasers. Then they use your platforms and they got successful.
Yeah.
But can you share with us some of the failure when the purchasers they come to Vietnam and with a lot of barriers and they don't understand without knowing about VinaSources? What would be the big problem for them?
So 80% of more than 80%, but just estimate in 80% of global buyers come to Vietnam. They face up with so many difficulties, and the majority of the deals is broken. It's just because of the communication.
Yes.
It's not about the physical language, right? So it's about understanding the production economy in Vietnam and the capability of factory producing in Vietnam. Sometimes when a global buyer come to Vietnam, they're already familiar with the production capability of China, Indian or other traditional sourcing market, and they immediately bring that standard and come to Vietnam and ask, hey, you can do that, you can do this, but it's not going to work. So first is about communication. The second is about understanding the capability of Vietnam production economy, and the third is about missing the middle piece to help them connect together.
Right.
For example, so the two previous point is easy to understand, but the third point, for example, just one is a payment, right? Yeah. So normally Vietnam factory, they need some kind of prepayment or majority of payment before the contract, after the contract signed, before the product ship out. But the buyers, they're familiar with TT or postpaid or similar payment method.
Yeah.
So in that way, if each side keep their own opinion about what they want in terms of payment, then the deal obviously broken, right?
Broken, yes.
So we come and we resolve that. But I think it's a three problem. But then the biggest one is about the trust.
Yes. Okay.
They always care about like scam or the product quality is not as they requested. And for example, when you ask for the samples, everything is perfect. But when you receive the real shipment, it's not gonna good. It's not gonna be something like the samples. So that's the things. So for main point.
Yeah, very interesting to listen to your story because you know what? His background is from computer science, IT, and then also legal, right? Yep. Therefore, he can formalize all of those things, structuralize everything, and then see the whole potential in e-commerce. It's very good to hear that. And if you want to answer to a very common question that people usually ask you, so you are the CEO of the VinaSources. What does VinaSources sell? How you answer directly?
We like, okay, if from business standpoint, we sell solution. We sell sourcing solution and data-wise solution. But actually, what VinaSource sells is kind of, you can say that a digital trust. Yeah. So we are in middle. But we make sure that we address the biggest concern of the buyers and the factory is about the trust. We stand in the middle. We make sure that we have transparency in working process. We have capability to connect and understand both sides. We have an ecosystem to connect and matching each point. and the third is we commit to the deals we made with both sides. So instead of like working directly with the factory and have the risk of the SLA, the product quality, the payment and everything, VinaSource will commit to make sure that the quality is good and everything is as planned by the buyers.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you two questions. Number one, a short question. How long have been VinaSources been doing and operating?
It's close to 3 years.
3 years. Okay. Second question. You're talking about structure, trust. I love the definition of that because it is very accurate in the context of international trades. If we can go a little deeper, could you explain how VinaSources manage the trust? Because simply everyone in here, we all agree that trust is something very vague and very abstractive. We cannot see it.
Yeah.
But how you guys can manage it within 3 years? Very successful.
Yeah. So it's interesting story. Before we launched VinaSources, we've been in the cross-border e-commerce industry for 13 years.
13 years.
So we know deeply about what buyers need and what they look into when they consider any partners or vendors to work with them. We manage the trust. It's not really managed, but we try our best to build the trust with our customer based on some key pillars. So first is about the transparency. Everything needs to be transparent. We're not trying to say that this is our product, this coffee bean is VinaSource product, or we're not trying to say that, we're not trying to hide the price or everything. We clear everything. So that's the vendor price. That is our service fee. That is what you need to pay. That is duty tariff. That is logistic, right? So we transparent everything, and we even transparent to the buyers the capability of the factory. We are not trying to hide the information and bring them what they want to hear just to get the deals. We want to make sure that we offer proper value information and very transparent so they can make decision properly.
Yeah.
So
very important, transparency.
Yeah, and then on every deals, that is the three sides, right? So VinaSource factory and buyers always on the same boat. So we're trying to transparent in the three parties to make sure that everyone understand each parties, each size about capability, and then when the deals happen, it's just very happy from everyone. So first is about the transparency. The second thing is about capabilities. We need to show our ability or capability to support and to connect and to address all the problem that each side has. Like I just give you some example before about financing partners, about logistics, about QC, about even like standard and certification auditing and providing. So the second is about the capabilities. The third is about the commitment. So we commit to the contract. We are not going to say that, okay, you work directly with this factory, and if that something happen, the factory will be take full responsibility. We're not going to do that. So we commit that if anything happen, and usually always something happen, big or small, right? Of course. VinaSource will be the one who stand out and on behalf of the buyers to work with the factory to address the problem for them. It's always easier for the buyers to have the local partners like us to work with the local factory and address the problem for them instead of them staying in EU or US just trying to reach out to the factory in Vietnam and address the problem. So the third is about the commitment. And I think the fourth is about the goodwill. The goodwill is very important keywords in that industry. You have to have goodwills from both sides, I mean 3 sides, to make the deals happen and to make the production and progress happen properly. So that's the 4 pillars we use to develop and manage the trust.
Yeah, and I especially love the last one, the goodwill, because we're living in the world very chaotic, and therefore we expect to see some peace in everywhere, even though it's in e-commerce, right? It's brought in more and more, and through your 4 pillars, I understand more about what behind VinaSources. And I heard a saying in the supply chain world that I think is incredibly insightful. Every product is the first time.
Yeah.
Every production run in the new beginning,
It is.
even with the same product and same factory. So you can never become a complacent.
Yep.
Do you agree with that?
Totally agree. Two reasons. So first is normally customer never purchase something exactly similar with what existing in the market, because if they do that, there is no competition advantage they can bring into the market to compete. And the second thing is it's a good attitude of VinaSource and also factory. It's just like you heard about Amazon slogan, right? Always day one. So we are same here, always the first orders, because people tends to be very carefully at the first orders.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that every single orders through us always considered as the first one. So everyone work with us in the proper attitude, carefully, and make sure that the SLA, the quality and everything is just like we need it to be.
Oh, interesting, because you mentioned about the first. So let's turn back time to 3 years ago. Do you remember the very first order transaction?
Yeah, I do.
Share it.
Yeah, it's the orders about some kind of wood furniture.
Good furniture.
And there's so many problems with that orders.
Right.
Because it's happened like the factory is not really ready for the exporting, right? So they're familiar with producing and selling in Vietnam. So when you sell in Vietnam, there is no certification need. There is no like material origin certification, and so many other standards.
Yes.
It's free, so it's easy for them. They just produce it and they sell. But in that order, everything is going smooth. Contract signed, payment, specification confirmation, everything is done. And then at the day that they hand over the product to the logistic company, and the buyer asks for the certification, for the material origin certification, and some other things.
Yes.
And that factory also they're confusing. They ask why I need that, why I need this. And VinaSource also doesn't know that, because it's very first orders of us. And also customer buyers is also didn't notify us in advance, because they default think that we have to know that, and factory have to know that. So it end up with a situation when the order have to delay 2 weeks for us just to prepare those documents for them. Luckily, at the end of the day, it's still successfully exported, but it's a big lesson for us.
Yes.
And after that, we standard our flow and make sure that whatever product need certification or standard, before it export, everything is prepared and on the table.
Great,
Yeah.
because I can see the very first pillar that you put in your answer. You are not hide away from your failure, even though the first one.
Yeah.
The first one, a lot of problem, but then
Yeah.
you do transparency to share with everyone. And
Yeah.
I hope that in this series, we love to hear more and more of the failure rather than the success.
Yeah.
Then we can understand, because it's very hard. In Vietnamese, they are saying that trên đời có 4 cái ngu làm mai ở đợt vác cu cầm chầu, and you are the matchmaker. So it's very hard to be a matchmaker. You have to understand from the both side, right?
Yeah.
From either the buyer and then the seller as well. And let's talk from the perspective of the Vietnamese seller. So most of Vietnamese business, they think that the international buyer, especially the big one, the big name, they care most about the price. The cheaper, the better. Do you think that is true from your research and from your experience with VinaSources?
Nice question. I think price-wise is always one of the biggest point, but it's not everything, right? So for the big customer, such as very big retail chain or brand, we talk about reasonable price. We are not talking about cheap price.
Yes.
Because they understand that price comes together with qualities, right? And with their brand on it, they will never want the product is cheap, look cheap or feel cheap. So they just need that it's reasonable. So about price, we talk about reasonable price. And the second thing is about the stable in the production. So the bigger the customer, the stable they need, the more stable they need, because they want to make sure that when they purchase 100,000 of items, the first item and the last item stay the same. Everything stay the same. So the scalability is very important, about quality, about the SLA, and about many other things. They need stable more than that, and everything needs to stay in the proper range. So price comes with quality, with the stability, and supportive as well. So I think that's it. It's not always about the pricing, because they understand the game. Maybe they always say that, okay, we need better price. They just try to get better deal, but at the end of the day, everyone, if they stay long enough in the industry, they know that that's the benchmark and that's the lowest point that everyone can do. We cannot go through that. Yeah. And from VinaSource standpoint, we always try to convince customers that the race about the pricing is the race to bottom, and at the end of the day, your brand is affected, our margin is affected, and everyone is damaged. So why don't we try to offer a high quality to your consumer? The factory had a good price to work on high quality. We have better margin to support, and you have more customer loyalty. So everyone is happy instead of just trying to race to the bottom together.
I love it. I love it because imagine foreigners coming to come to Vietnam. The big impression, if they got to know VinaSources, they should feel very comfortable, right? Now I have a chance to interact with the Vietnamese market, with the support, with the instruction from you guys. And as a Vietnamese people, I'm so proud about what we have with VinaSources. And this is Made in Vietnam Founders, and he's the one who found this show. We will be back with more insightful questions coming up. So welcome back to series of Made in Vietnam Founders podcast, and here in the studio I have Mr. Nguyen Quang Dong, the CEO of VinaSources, and we are in the middle of talking about what is strategy behind that. After 3 years of successful matchmaking, but also behind that would be a long journey of 13 years understanding about the e-commerce, and then understand about both the buyer and on the seller as well. And I really like something that you once said, the person like VinaSources is in the middle of someone who translate both Vietnamese and another language, but not only just spoken language, but two business languages, a whole big different point, right? So could you elaborate more and provide some more idea on the detail of all of those? I'm so curious to hear about.
Yeah, I think it's one of the important key point, value of VinaSources. We are like interpreters, right? So buyers always want this, and the factory they will understand in their own language, right? So when you say I need that, but if the factory feels that they never did that before, or there is no one who can support them with that, they will say no, we cannot do that. So for example, when the EU buyers come to Vietnam and try to purchase the organic candles, they purchase that organic candles to sell to the 4 and 5 stars hotels in the EU. And you know, the EU is very strict in terms of certification, especially for something that human can affect human, right? So for example, the food or drink or bread, like product like candles, right? It burn the airs and all these things. So they ask for certification. And that factory, they immediately say no. I don't know how to get certification, and I never had any kind of customer asking for that before. Okay. So I cannot do that orders. So we say, hey, okay, you have capability, and now the missing piece is a certification. And if you are confident about your product, your material is organic and properly store and purchase and grow, everything should be fine. So we connected to one of our partners who always do audit, factory audit, and give the certification, jumped in. And then within 2 months, they have the full 3 type of certificate for EU market. Ooh. Yeah, and from there.
That's quick.
Yeah, that's quick because their factory is so good. But the thing is they sell in Vietnam and Southeast Asia that already occupies 90% of their factory capability. So they doesn't think that they need new market But then when the unstable of the supply chain with the war is trending right now, the multiple revenue stream and then multiple market is very important. So after 2 months, they have everything ready for EU market, and now their factory is triple time bigger than before because they expand to the new market. They have advantage in material. They they grow the material themselves, and the factory procedure inside that is very good, so they can expand very very quick. And now they're very happy with the support of VinaSource, and now organic candles is always one of VinaSource strong product. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is one of the example, that kind of language.
Yes.
So yeah.
Candles, and for the first episode we have pineapple weaving.
Yeah.
What other we have there at VinaSources?
We have so many. Like so if you visit VinaSources.com, you can see the majority of Vietnam product is listed there. But to be honest, not everything made in Vietnam is good enough for support for export. I have to say, we have around 10 to 20 very strong verticals that ready for export, and we can adapt at any quality standard. But we need more time to have them grow, adapt with the global standard before they can really export. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think VinaSources' role is very important, not just only to facilitate all of the process, but also educate Vietnamese seller, right? Because if we look at the bigger picture, the question many Vietnamese people often wonders is all about, we have good products and many industry with very strong craftsmanship and raw material and unique identity. So the presence of Vietnamese product can be seen very transparent in here. So can you talk more about the education side for the Vietnamese product seller?
So you mean from factory side or seller side? Factory, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I mentioned, when they trying to play in the bigger playground, it's a global playground. They need to understand the rules of that. So it's included in global mindset that I've been talking about that many times in many events. Like when you want to go global, you can many other capability or ability you can buy it. For example, financing, you can buy it. Customer, even you can have someone to help you running campaigns and advertising to get it. But at the end of the day, the most important thing for a sustainable and long run in global market is the global mindset. So the global mindset, one of the key point in global mindset is understanding the rules of the games. So the rules of the game including many things. So the first is about the legal rules, right? You want to sell in some new market, you need to understand about the law of that. So you understand about your duty tariff, the standard to export in the market, and so on. And the second thing is the demand of the market about the administration things. Example, like certification, standard, and many other things, like labels outside the product and all these things. And the third is understanding about the behavior and the requirement of the customer in that market. So they need to understand that, and they need to have the goodwill to change themselves, to adapt themselves. The key word here is adapt. It's adaptabilities. Because it's always the game about, you want to get fit into something new, you need to adapt yourself. It cannot like the market will never adapt you. You need to adapt the market. So that is the key. And it's about long story about the global mindset, but in the short description it's like this.
So I understand that you found this series simply to educate the Vietnamese powder, right? Because we all agree that we have some very unique point in Vietnamese product, but we're all reaching to the global mindset. But when we're talking about global mindset, it seems to be very fancy, but not many people understand about it quite well. So what do you think Vietnamese founders most often misunderstood about the idea of going global?
It's come together from some ideas. So the first is they need to answer a few questions. So first is, are you seeing that your company need new market or new revenue stream? Are you planning for long run, for like long-term plan, like 5 years, 10 years, or you just look into the next year? Because some company, they have orders, they have a contract until next year, but then after that they never know. And with the unstable world like now, the supply chain is broken and disruption in many points. It's very important to plan properly and always have multiple revenue stream and market to make sure that the company is not in the bad position. So that's question come first. And then if they say, yes, I need new market, I need new revenue stream, I need new way to drive my company forward, then the next would be the mindset of adaptabilities, like I just mentioned before.
Adaptability will be another keyword that the Vietnamese founder should bear in mind. That is your mindset behind Going Global, right? And this is the platform for them. They watch the show and then they will have some updated, some insight from people who are working at the matchmaker between two languages, between two words, just like you. So over the past few years, we have heard a lot about the China Plus One, the tariffs, and how global companies want to diversify their supply chains. So many people say that the golden opportunity, golden for Vietnamese people. So in your view, is it truly a real opportunity, or is that somewhat overstated?
I think Vietnamese product or made in Vietnam product doesn't need this kind of wave to go global.
Cool.
It's like Vietnam product is good itself, and like Chinese plus one or India plus one or whatever plus one is the advantage point. It's not the key point. So made in Vietnam product doesn't need that, but obviously everyone see that it's an opportunity to speed up the time, and if Vietnamese factories can catch up with the wave, they move faster. Without the wave, they still move a little bit slower, a little bit more competition from this market, but they're still moving forward. But with this advantage and with this transitioning in supply chain, global supply chain, they get better advantage and move quicker. Just it.
Okay. And let's look at the whole pictures in a more practical perspective. And transparency usually would be the keyword as well. So after you work with so many Vietnamese suppliers and factory, what do you see their real strengths?
If you're talking about strong verticals of Vietnam, the strength of Vietnam factory, I'm talking about the strong verticals.
Yes.
That in the 15 or 20 verticals that ready for export, we just mentioned. The advantage is about the material. The material. For example, the wooden product, furniture, all these things, and agricultural, like coffee, like nuts and all these things. The material is a strong point. So we 100% handle those. The second thing is about the technology to make the product. We also 100% in control that, because it's been, for example, wooden product Vietnam stand in the top 4 globally in exporting value. So we control the material, we control the technology. And the third, we have the strong human source that can produce those. And then I think that is the 3 key points. Together with some support from the ecosystem, such as the government supporting, the logistic chain now is very convenient, and with other pieces in the ecosystem that ready to jump into support, like financing, like certification approval, factory audit, and many other things. I think that combine together, making the strength of Vietnamese factory. And let me notice that the strength of Vietnamese factory is not coming only from the factory. It's a combination between the factory itself, their internal powers, internal capability, the government supports, the growth of the ecosystem. That is together that bring the strength of.
Okay, very bright side, very bright side of Vietnamese suppliers. But let's be frankly talking about the weakness points of a Vietnamese supplier when we are stepping into the global international arena.
So Vietnamese production economy is not mature like other country, to be honest. So it's growing. It's growing, and in some outside of the strong verticals that I just mentioned, other verticals is facing very difficulties in joining the global market. The key is still coming from the mindset. those factory, they are not familiar with the global mindset. They think that coming to global playground is something crazy. They never be able to reach that. It's so difficult. There's so much barrier. I cannot support it. I cannot support that. I'm in Vietnam. How I can sell to global buyers? So many like negative question with them, and they are not from the mindset. They're not confident about their capability. And I think the key thing still coming from the mindset, and that is the biggest weaknesses of Vietnamese factories. It's all from the mindset.
Okay, so learn from all of those weakness, and we have to be confront with this, frankly, right? And I love this story because I had the chance to meet the one who found this show and the one who found the platforms to connecting suppliers and buyers. But if we look beyond just sourcing, beyond the individual purchase orders, what do you think you and the team at VinaSources are really building?
So you're asking about the individual orders, what we are building. Can you?
Beyond that, what is the mission after this? Because after, let's say, almost 2 decades, dedicated to e-commerce, and then you are so passionate about this, right? You're so passionate about it. So what is the mission, the vision?
I think the vision, the mission, and the vision of VinaSources is not just sourcing.
Yes.
Our desire and our inspiration about this platform, about this business, and after all, what we want is our desire is to increase the exporting volume of Vietnam product globally. So that is our inspiration from the time we founded the company and until now. It stay as day one. It's our pure inspiration. Yeah, and to be able to do that, we're not only do sourcing. We need to do training and education.
Yes.
We have the program to support factory to understand the global standard, how to join the global market, why you should join the global market instead of just produce and selling in Vietnam, why you should confident in yourself. That is the time for you to transform, and so many things. So first is about the education and supporting them in terms of knowledge base and the mindset. And the second is provide them the tools to have present globally through my platform or through their own store with our tools and all these things. And the third is provide them necessary support.
Yes.
So they can convert from potential customer to the orders and purchasing.
Good to hear. And I'm also an educator. And can I invite you to my university and then educate them? Because I think your real experience and then your vision is really dedicated. And congratulations on the success of VinaSources for 3 years. And I do hope that more and more trust will be built from this very matchmaker. Right? So if there is a founder of Vietnamese that me listening to this episode or watching us on the show, someone who has a good product, real capability, and is thinking about going international, going global, as you mentioned, what advice would you give to them?
So first, I think they need to believe that Vietnam factory has full capability to go global. Everything they need is just 2 things. Just start with the global mindset. The second thing is ready to adapt. That's it. And everything else they can buy or they can have others to support.
Right.
But their mindset, no one can help them with the mindset, right? So they need to change the mindset a bit and then ready for the adaptability.
Right, sure. Because we are no longer judging people, just looking at, oh, you are so Asian, you are so Vietnamese face, no one judging on that. And the global language is changing every day. And I do hope that the Vietnamese founders, you watching the show, you will understand reason why we put the language of this show is English. That's my first curiosity when I come to the show and ask the producer, why they have to use the English language. Now I understand.
Yeah.
That is the global language for us to go global, all right?
Yeah.
And finally, the last question. If you had to describe Vietnam to the world in just 1 sentence, because a lot of people who watch the show, they're so curious to jump into the landscape, but they don't understand, especially the trust. Now we provide them. Talk to them in just 1 sentence. What will it be?
In just 1 sentence, it's so difficult to describe anything in 1 sentence, right?
So that the producer's writing, so fire her, let's do another one, right? Let's do sentences.
Yeah, so I think it's not about hearing about Vietnam capability. Just come and see.
Yes.
Just come and see. I mean, the best experience is just come and see yourself. You can see with your eyes, you can feel with your heart, you can touch with your hand, and then you can make some decision with your head. And it's good to see that VinaSource is going to launch the factory tour very soon. So anyone who want to come to Vietnam and want to join the factory tour, we're happy to host you there. For example, if you are the company who sell clothes or apparel, you want to source in Vietnam, but you want to go to visit some of the factory in Vietnam, my team is ready to bring you around, talk to you about Vietnam people and culture and the capability of the factory. And the rest left is let's see if we can match.
Right, and it's all about communication, right? And then we have the good point, we have the weaknesses, but then we have to deliver the communication well between the parties. And then this show is the same. We try to communicate to both parties. And you just introduce to the word about Vietnam in sentences. Now, if you are speaking to Vietnamese businesses and that still do not fully believe that they can go far, what would you say to them?
Just try it.
Just try it.
Just try it. I mean, I know no better way than just try it, because it's so difficult to say that, like, okay, you're so, it's so difficult to describe to anyone your feeling and what you experience, right? So the best way is they experience themselves. So just try it, small one, and you'll see,
Okay,
Yeah.
and thank you so much for coming. I don't know why you not come here until the second episode. And I hope you guys are watching the show, will love the show, and so proud about Made in Vietnam Founders. And Made in Vietnam Founders is created by you. So proud, like, congratulations.
Thank you so
and
much.
I hope that you can come back anytime to this room because it's your show. Is there any new interesting story, come and share with us, because a lot of people watching the show because they're so curious about the global mindset behind e-commerce, and we are the one who facilitate it. All right, and last words we want to give out to our audiences watching the show.
Thank you so much for watching the show. I just hope that we have an opportunity to host you in Vietnam. We have an opportunity to bring you around, seeing Vietnam people's culture and visiting some factory. And hopefully we have some deal together soon.
And see you next time on the next episode of Made in Vietnam Founders. Ciao.